Breaking news. The Venezuela president and the wife has been captured by the US. Welcome back to Royal Media. Thanks for always being here. Please don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and don't forget to subscribe. This is the channel that brings you verified news within Nigeria and around the world. Donald Trump spoke with Fox News for more than a dozen minutes in the last hour or so. While he confirmed some details of the overnight strike on Venezuela, he left some big questions unanswered. We are expecting to hear more from him in the next few moments. According to the president, Venezuela's president Nicolas Maduro and his wife have been captured and are on their way to the US. No American soldiers were killed in the action, although there were some injuries. The US is prepared for a second wave of strike against any Maduro loyalists remaining in the country. Trump also said he believes that American companies will be heavily involved in rebuilding Venezuela oil infrastructure. What is less clear is how committed the US will be rebuilding the rest of Venezuela, a nation that is both economically and politically in shambles. Trump was non-committal about who would take over the country now that Maduro is gone. Trump said last night's action sent a signal that the US is not going to be pushed around by other countries anymore. The rest of the world, particularly American hemispheric neighbors, are sure to be anxious about exactly what an American president who appears comfortable using military force might mean by that. The opposition leader of Venezuela and Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado has welcomed the US intervention, saying the country's hour of freedom has arrived. She said on social media that President Maduro was removed from power after refusing a negotiated exit, and the opposition candidate for the 2024 election, Edmundo Gonzalez, should now assume the presidency. She added the opposition will restore order in the country and free political prisoners. Such a transition is certainly what the US wants, but it may not be as simple as the opposition claims. Maduro still have allies in the country, many of whom may not want to go without a fight if they fear repercussions themselves. Even some fiancé critics of Maduro are uncomfortable with US intervention, fear this could lead to further destabilization, and have not supported Macedo's close allies with the Trump administration. But some critics see this as a final resort to get rid of what they believe was an authoritarian and oppressive regime. News conference at Mar-a-Lago to begin shortly. We are expecting the news conference at Trump Florida residence Mar-a-Lago to begin shortly. Earlier on, Trump told Fox News the conference could include Defense Secretary Peter Hegseth and General Dan Cine. We are going to have a pretty open news conference, he said. We will bring you the key line. Stick with us. Trump begins by referring to the extraordinary military operation conducted in the capital of Venezuela overnight into this morning at his direction. He says overwhelmingly American military power by air, land, and sea was used. Trump says the US is going to run Venezuela until such a time that we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition of power. Trump thanks the military for their breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competency. He says these highly trained warriors were operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement. Venezuela forces were waiting for us, he says, with many ships outside. Despite being in a ready position, Trump says Venezuela forces were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. Not a single U.S. serviceman was killed and no equipment was lost, he adds. Trump says the U.S. has knocked out 97% of drugs coming into by sea and alleged that each boat carrying drugs kills 25,000 people on average. He also alleged that most of the drugs coming from Venezuela. The BBC has not verified this figure. Trump now turns on to oil. He claims the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust and that large U.S. company are going to go into the country to fix the infrastructure and start making money for the country. He adds the U.S. is ready to stage a second and much larger attack on the country if needed. He says they were initially prepared to do a second wave and had assumed it would be necessary, that both given the success of last night's attacks, it probably would not be. Trump claims the U.S. partnership with Venezuela will make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe, adding Venezuela living in the U.S. will be extremely happy. They are not going to suffer anymore, he tells the news conference. Trump calls Maduro an illegitimate dictator who was responsible for the bringing of colossal amount of deadly illicit drugs into the U.S. and accused him of overseeing the Cartel de los Soles cartel. Maduro has previously overwhelmingly denied being a cartel leader. Trump adds that Maduro and his wife are on a ship heading to New York, and a decision will be made soon between New York and Miami. General Dan Cini now takes the podium. He shares some details of the planning for the operation, dubbed Operation Absolute Result. He called it discreet and precise and says it requires every component of the joint force, including soldier, sailor, airmen, marine, and others, working in unionism with intelligence agency and law enforcement. He adds the operations leverage on much intelligence, capabilities, and years of experience in hunting terrorism. General Cini says the extraction was so precise it requires more than 150 aircraft all coming together in the right place and time. On the preparation work, it refers to months of intelligence work uncovering details about Maduro's, including where he lives and what he ate. The U.S. military maintains totally the element of surprise, having dismantled and disabled Venezuela air defense system, says General Cini. He says they arrived at Maduro's compound at 0101 ET and isolated the area. On arrival there, the helicopters came under fire and they responded with overwhelming force, he says. One helicopter was hit, but all U.S. aircraft have been able to return home, he says. Maduro and his wife then gave up and were taken into custody by the Department of Justice, says Cini, and at 0329 ET, they boarded the USS Iwo Jima. We are now hearing from U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He says Maduro is not the legitimate president. It is not just us saying it, he says, adding the first Trump administration and the Biden administration also said the same. Maduro is also not recognized by the EU and multiple countries around the world, Rubio says. He described the Venezuela president as a fugitive of American justice with a $50 million reward. I guess we saved ourselves 50 million, Rubio says, before Trump chimed in with, "We should make sure, don't let anybody claim it." Rubio continued by saying that Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this, but chose instead to act like a wild man and play around. He described Maduro as a man who decided to invite Iran into his country and flood the U.S. with gang members. Maduro thought nothing would happen, Rubio says, before adding that Trump is not a game player. When Trump says he is going to address a problem, he actions it, Rubio adds. Trump is now taking questions. He asks if the U.S. running Venezuela means U.S. troops will be on the ground. He says, "We are not afraid of boots on the ground," and the U.S. military had boots on the ground last night at a very high level. "We are going to make sure that country is run properly," he adds. Trump is also asked what exact mechanism he will be using to run the country. He says, "We are designating people right now, and we are going to let you know who those people are." He is then asked who will run Venezuela. He gestured his hands toward himself and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, as he says it's largely going to be, for a period of time, the people that are standing right behind me. Trump is asked if he has been in contact with opposition leader Maria Corina Machado. He says he hasn't spoke to her. It will be very tough for Machado to be the leader of Venezuela, he adds. Though she is a very nice woman, he says, she doesn't have the support within and the respect within the country. The news conference is now finished. Here's a few more lines that emerged from it. Feeding a question from a reporter who said he is from Cuba. Trump told him Cuba is going to be something we will end up talking about. We want to help the people in Cuba. We want to also help the people that were forced out of Cuba. Secretary of State Marco Rubio interjected that when the president speaks, you should take him seriously, adding many of the guards who helped protect Maduro were Cubans. If I live in Havana and I was in the government, I did be concerned, at least, Rubio added. So guys, Venezuela has been declared a national emergency, denouncing extremely serious military aggression. And two, President Donald Trump says the U.S. is going to run Venezuela until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. Maduro and his wife have landed at Stalwart Air National Guard Base in New York State. Donald Trump says the U.S. launched strike on Venezuela and captured its president, Nicolas Maduro.